Family Support Program offers services to parents who come through the child welfare system.
Family Support was designed and developed in order to provide some advocacy for the parents and support for the parents to work towards permanency for their children.
We basically work with the parents, trying to get them to accomplish the goals that are set to them by the court.
We offer parenting education, as well as supervised visit with their children if they are in out-of-home care, as well as home management and crisis stabilization.
We also look for other resources out in the community that's beneficial to helping our families reach the goals towards reunification.
And try to provide some type of normalcy within the lives of the families while they're going through their transitions. That's the goal, to reunify the families. And so anytime that you have families that are reunified, then that's success.
My role in parent-child interactions is to supervise and ensure for safety. So that's safety of the children, number one. It also involves like coaching the parents.
I do a lot of motivation. I have to find a lot of activities. I have to have them do projects. I have to have them look inside themselves to see what it is that they have to offer.
Really what we're looking for is growth. So to say, yes, you want to bond, yes, you want to spend time with your child, but we really want to make the most of that time that they have together.
I do a lot of visit coaching and a lot of modeling and a lot of saying, what skills do you have? What strengths do you have as a parent? Let's not always look at the negative component. Let's bring out what you can offer now, and let's implement that in the sessions.
It's really a time where parents spend time with their kids, yes, but it's also a time to really engage that bond and to maybe start to grow and develop a relationship that they previously didn't have. We're really a very strong contact towards the families because they see us more often, so they feel like they have somebody supporting them on their side.
When a case first comes in, we get an email stating that we've been assigned to a new case. In that email, there's a case transfer staffing that is set up. We attend that case transfer staffing. The family is present during that case transfer staffing, and then they meet their case manager, they meet all of the people who will be involved in providing services for their family.
Once family case managers get the case and the kids come into care, we come at the beginning, which is awesome because then the parents feel like we're just not another person in their lives, but we've come together as this whole team.
We do a lot of emails, we do a lot of conversations through phone, we have team meetings, we have staffings. With my supervisor, we have supervisions where we meet twice a week and talk about the cases and what can be improved and what can be developed. We also, during supervision, talk about where is this case going? Does it look like this parent is demonstrating change, or do we need to move this case to an outside agency because the parent is not changing at that time? During that time, we make a formal decision. So for example, if the parent is doing really well in the visits and the interactions, going to their therapy appointments, they have a home and things like that, we'll give them another 3 months to meet other goals, and then I'll stay on the case. If you have a client who is not demonstrating change within 3 to 9 months, then that's when we decide to move it to an outside agency, and the case manager may decide to do a termination of parental rights.
Our caseload ultimately depends on how much time is required for each case.
I currently have 5 cases. The average is probably 4 to 6 cases.
Sometimes cases can require 10 hours a week. Sometimes they only require 2. And so our caseload is built upon however many service hours we have to give for each family.
The breakdown of hours, I probably spend a little bit more, probably 2/3 of my time face-to-face with my parents and their children, and probably the last third with documentation and doing internal staffing. We have to be available 8 to 8 every day. I typically work 7 days a week. I have interactions every single day throughout the week, as well as parenting. The schedules can change.
Sometimes there's cancellation so that I don't get the hours that I always need, so then I need to find other ways to keep my work schedule going to get those hours with helping out in the office or helping with coverage and things like that.
Sometimes, you may have a 9 to 5. Some days you might have an 8 to 10. It depends on what takes place within the course of the day. So you have to be willing to be flexible.
The flexibility of this role provides the opportunity to work around the family's needs. Some children are in school, and so we can't have family interactions while they're in school, so we have to work in the evening, after school. So it just depends on the family's needs. We prioritize that way.
Well, the benefits of that is it actually helps me with my personal life. If I have doctor's appointments or personal appointments I need to attend, I can work my work schedule around that. If you have a family and you have to take children to school, it's a little bit flexible with that if you want to, be a part of your children's things and activities at school.
Every day's different, every day changes, and every week is a different schedule.
You have to be willing to be flexible and have a lot of family support. Your own family needs to be able to support you within this. Here we may work 10, 12-hour days, but we're repairing a family and we're assisting our community, and it's a big difference.
Documentation can be one of the very tedious parts of our job, but yet it is one of the most critical because it's the information that gets passed from us to court, from us to attorneys, from us to anybody that needs to know about this case is what this documentation is supposed to frame.
Our documentation has to be extremely detailed because we want to be able to capture everything within the visit so that the courts can see that the parents are being supportive to the children.
I do a lot of my documentation based off my parent-child interactions. I'm observing for the goals set forth by the case manager in the courts. So for example, if one of the goals is the parent needs to be able to demonstrate that they can provide the children's basic needs as far as feeding, shelter, and things like that, then that is what I assess and that's what I look for.
My goal really in this documentation is to show the progress and to show the success. Yes, it's going to have the whole range of what actually happened during parent-child interactions, during parenting, pretty much just to show the collaboration within the organization when it comes to our dedication to this case, but also where the parents are at, and to be able to show hopefully those stages of change as they've gone through over time in those notes.
The challenges I faced in my role was having this mindset that I could change the parents and that those goals that they put forth would be complete because of me. I'm working with families who are struggling, they don't have a home, or they're homeless, or if they do have a home, there's domestic violence in there. Sometimes they don't have hope within themselves that they can be different, and so it's easy for them to give up.
Whenever you're dealing with emotional situations and children being removed from their home, it's a very emotional situation. All of those emotions come into play when working with families.
I feel like sometimes I'm a therapist because sometimes I'm sitting there listening during a parent-child interaction when the parent should be interacting with their child, but the parent has so much emotional trauma going on, they can't really focus on their child during that time.
Because these families are brought into care, they don't really have a choice to work with us, and so that can sometimes bring a lot of hostility.
That's something that can be a challenge in this role, is dealing with those emotions, but also trying to be honest with the family to develop that relationship so that you can work towards whatever goals have been put in place in order to achieve permanence for their children. So the challenge of working with people's emotions and considering their emotions as well, but also balancing that with working towards progress at the same time.
I find myself trying to find ways and strategies and techniques to get to the root of what the parent is feeling so that they can meet the needs of their children, and sometimes that can be really challenging.
It also can be challenging to coordinate everything because we're working with biological families and we work with foster families and caregivers, and so it just means continuing to communicate. I love the relationships with families and really being able to watch the growth and the succession of change, especially those parents that come in really feeling disempowered and really feeling that their whole world is falling apart, because a lot of these families are in crisis and are in constant crisis. And so to be able to see them saying, I'm not really I don't really want anything to do with you, and are very hostile, and like there's no reason why my kid had to be taken away, all the way to the point of maybe I do have a drug addiction and maybe I do need to get some treatment for that, and my focus right now is going to be on my kids and to be getting clean. And to see that progression where the support and the relationship between the client and I then makes an impact and dominoes over hopefully finding those other outside supports, just seeing that progression is just beautiful.
I've learned quite a bit from our families, you know, being able to work with families of different cultures. I've been educated through that, and that's just the most wonderful thing for me, because then it kind of gets me out of my box in order that I can be able to help other families.
I like the families, I really do. I enjoy that. Even though it can be a challenge, it can be very rewarding. I feel as if I can change one parent, I know that I've done my job.
The training to get in this role is about 5 weeks. You'll have training with other family support specialists daily, as well as you will shadow the services that we provide, such as parent-child interactions or parenting and home management.
I find a lot of support from my colleagues, and we definitely help each other and encourage each other and offer each other feedback and different creative, innovative ideas to work with those families that can be a little more challenging, where you continue to hit a brick wall. Sometimes you need a fresh set of eyes or a fresh idea in order to create some room for progress with those kind of families.
We have small teams per supervisor within our bigger team, which would be family support program, and then you have the team based on your client. So there's a lot of different teams, but the purpose of all of these teams is to support each other, to collaborate with each other.
Collaboration across programs is very important.
And so as a big team, we realize that we're in this together. It's just not my clients and your clients, it's like all of our clients.
We have to communicate very often and very frequently about things that come up during the case, and also to ensure that we're all on the same page to achieve the same goals.
I would say that this job is beautiful in the fact that you have real relationships and you make big impact on these families. Whether or not the kids end up going home to these parents is not the bigger deal, in the fact that you are impacting who this person is and you are impacting what they feel about themselves. I think we have to focus on the smaller steps and the smaller successes that it took to create the bigger goal. And so if this mom was clean for 3 weeks, that's something to celebrate, and to realize that that mom felt supported in the process.
You have to keep an open mind. You have to put yourself in that client's shoes.
You need to understand where they're coming from, as well as listen to what their concerns are, because that will allow them to trust you.
Of course, our families are presented to us on paper, but then you're trying to get to the point where you can meet the families where they are.
The first part of engagement with anyone is finding a way to build rapport with families. And I believe one of the ways that I've been the most successful in my role in doing that is I remember that all of our families are human. All of our families are people first. And I take that in mind and keep that in mind whenever I go out and meet a family for the first time.
And getting them past that barrier where they see you as the enemy and someone there to help them. I just take my time and wait for them and try to approach them from where they are, try to meet them where they are.
Oftentimes we read a lot of information in these different reports about what happened, that the kids came into care, and we rarely talk to the parents about what that was like for them or how that was for them, and let them share their experience from their side. And so I kind of even the playing field by allowing them to share their story, and then we can go from there. Now that we have this understanding of what happened, how do we move forward to get you engaged in parenting services?
Definitely have to be flexible. You have to be flexible. You have to be willing to meet parents where they are and have a compassion to want to assist with seeing these families reunited. And then also you have to have a lot of courage if that's not taking place, to be able to say, I don't think this is safe for this child. You know, our motto is kids deserve the best, so we got to make sure that they're safe. You know, if that's in home or out of home, we need to find out what's the best thing for this child.
even though you might want to see some change or work on some progress and have a date set in mind for when this progress will be able to be demonstrated, this may not be realistic for your client. So you have to be flexible and set those realistic goals with your client. And if things don't work out the first time, be flexible, go back to the drawing board and try something different until you find something that works.
You also have to keep in mind that no matter what you've done, you can't change that parent unless that parent is willing to change. But that doesn't mean that you were not successful in the work that you did. It's just that that parent is not ready at that time.
I would say that even if you're not a social worker or in psychology, I came from teaching, and it doesn't necessarily have to stop you. You just really have to have a passion for children and families, because that's our goal and that's what we're here for. And that's what's really going to keep you going in those minutes that you're like, I'm not sure I can deal with all of this crisis anymore. So.
If you want something that's rewarding and you really like working with people, then this is it.
So for those considering this role, I would say we all dare to change the world, but in this role, we only change the world one family at a time.